In the digital age, your darkest secrets are just one click away from becoming headline news. For Victor Carson, his wife's infidelity wasn't just a private heartbreak. It became public entertainment, served up to millions of strangers who consumed his pain between scrolling sessions. What if your most intimate betrayal was exposed to millions of strangers? The betrayal that keeps you awake at night, the one that burns in your chest. Suddenly broadcast across screens worldwide, dissected by faceless commenters who laugh, judge, and share your humiliation with ruthless abandon. Have you ever wondered how far someone might go when their humiliation goes viral? When the comments pile up, when coworkers avoid eye contact, when family members send uncomfortable texts asking if that video is really about you. Victor never imagined he'd discover his wife Miranda's affair through a TikTok notification. Never thought he'd watch, paralyzed with shock, as her lover Evan proudly showcased their secret meetings in a montage designed for maximum views. The intimate whispers, stolen kisses, and secretive glances, all captured, edited, and distributed as content for the hungry algorithm. Social media promised connection but delivered isolation. Privacy gave way to exposure. And in the toxic intersection where viral fame meets personal violation, where infidelity collides with digital revenge, something broke inside Victor Carson. The rage that built within him wasn't just about betrayal, it was about the public spectacle his private pain had become. As the view count climbed and the comments section filled with strangers weighing in on his marriage, Victor's thoughts darkened beyond recognition. What happens when humiliation becomes unbearable? When every notification sounds like mocking laughter? When you realize the world is watching your downfall with popcorn in hand? The answer, in this case, would shock even the most hardened true crime enthusiasts. Before we continue with this devastating story, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to True Crime Village. Every story we share contains critical life lessons that might one day save you or someone you love from becoming another tragic headline. Westwood's tree-lined streets and immaculate lawns concealed lives of quiet desperation behind pristine facades. Victor and Miranda Carson were neighborhood fixtures, the couple who hosted summer barbecues, decorated elaborately for holidays, and maintained their colonial-style home with meticulous care. For 7 years, they embodied suburban success. He in property management, she in graphic design, both apparently thriving. Victor Carson rose each morning at 5:30 a.m., his routine as predictable as the seasons. Colleagues respected his work ethic and clients appreciated his reliability. He'd built his career methodically, climbing from assistant to manager through persistence rather than flash. His devotion to Miranda was equally steadfast. Anniversary gifts selected months in advance, date nights maintained despite busy schedules, and a genuine belief that marriage meant standing firm through difficulties. Victor's the kind of man who fixes things before they break, a neighbor once remarked, always thinking 3 steps ahead. What neighbors couldn't see was the growing silence between them at dinner, the perfunctory kisses, the separate bedtimes that gradually became the norm. While Victor found satisfaction in stability, Miranda Carson increasingly felt suffocated by it. The creative spark that once fueled her design work now sought new outlets. Her social media accounts, initially created to showcase professional projects, gradually revealed a woman hungry for validation beyond her marriage. "I feel like I'm sleepwalking," she confided to a friend. Same streets, same conversations, same life stretching endlessly forward. Her TikTok account began as a creative experiment but quickly became her escape hatch from suburban monotony. With each video, each new follower, Miranda tasted the excitement her structured life with Victor couldn't provide. Her content grew bolder, her online persona more vibrant than her offline existence. The Carsons' perfect life was a carefully maintained illusion, one that would shatter spectacularly when the digital world and real world violently collided. Miranda's TikTok debut featured harmless home decoration tips and office lunch recipes, content that garnered modest engagement but satisfied her creative itch. 3 months in, her following barely reached 500, mostly friends and acquaintances who dutifully liked each post. Just experimenting, she told Victor when he noticed her filming herself rearranging their living room. He nodded absently, never grasping how desperately she craved the validation each notification brought. Everything changed when Miranda shifted to more personal content. Videos about marriage frustrations resonated unexpectedly, with comments like, "I felt this in my soul," and "Finally someone said it." Her following doubled, then tripled. The dopamine rush of viral recognition became addictive, a high Victor couldn't provide. Enter Evan Rivers, whose TikTok persona Real Rivers boasted 200,000 followers. At 27, 5 years younger than Miranda, Evan crafted an image of carefree adventure and raw authenticity. His videos, confessional monologues filmed in his car, comedic takes on dating disasters, and occasional shirtless workout clips, attracted primarily female audiences seeking connection with his apparent vulnerability. "You captured exactly what I couldn't express," read his first comment on Miranda's video about emotional distance in relationships. She checked his profile immediately, spending 40 minutes scrolling through his content before responding. Their interaction began publicly. Mutual video duets, comment exchanges filled with inside jokes, and increasingly frequent mentions of each other. Followers noticed, with some commenting, "The chemistry between you two is fire," and "Get a room already." They eventually did. Their first offline meeting occurred at a coffee shop halfway between their homes. For content collaboration, Miranda texted Victor. 3 hours of charged conversation led to exchanged phone numbers and messaging app connections hidden behind passcodes. Weekly meetings became twice weekly. Secret language developed in their videos, references only they understood but posted for hundreds of thousands to see. While Victor worked late, Miranda edited videos featuring subtle nods to Evan. While Miranda slept beside her husband, notifications from Evan lit up her password-protected second account. Their digital affair played out through late-night live streams when Victor worked overnight, comments with timestamps indicating when they could talk, privately location tags that occasionally revealed their meeting spots, videos filmed in the same locations hours apart, inside jokes disguised as casual content. Their relationship flourished in plain sight, visible to anyone paying attention, except the one person who wasn't watching at all. Evan Rivers' follower count had plateaued at 230,000. His engagement metrics were dropping, and the TikTok algorithm had become less generous with his reach. Newer, younger creators threatened his relevance daily. In the ruthless ecosystem of social media, stagnation meant death. Exposed videos are trending, his friend Marcus pointed out during a strategy call. People love watching real drama unfold, especially if there's cheating involved. Evan didn't make his decision suddenly. For 3 weeks, he methodically recorded encounters with Miranda using hidden cameras and strategically positioned phones. Hotel lobby meetings captured from across the room. Park bench conversations filmed by a friend pretending to take photos nearby. Coffee shop rendezvous recorded under the guise of vlogging. Each clip was carefully assessed for maximum impact. Miranda's hand lingering on his arm, her wedding ring visible as she caressed his face. Her whispered confessions about her marriage. Her laughter at jokes about deceiving Victor. The compilation video took 14 hours to edit. Evan added text overlays explaining their relationship, dramatic music transitions, and strategic cuts that painted Miranda as the aggressor. He deliberately emphasized her marital status throughout, making the betrayal central to the narrative. Married TikToker's secret life exposed, with receipts. Read the caption when he uploaded it at 8:30 p.m. on a Tuesday, prime viewing time when engagement rates peaked. The algorithm recognized the explosive content immediately. Within an hour, 50,000 views. By midnight, 300,000. When Victor woke the next morning, over 1 million people had watched his wife's infidelity unfold in a neatly packaged 3-minute video. The comments section erupted. "I knew something was off about her perfect marriage videos. Poor husband probably working while she's out doing this. Evan just secured the bag with this one money bag. Anyone else feel gross watching someone's life fall apart for views?" TikTok's duet feature amplified the scandal exponentially. Reaction videos multiplied, creators filming their shocked expressions while watching, relationship coaches analyzing the betrayal signs, amateur body language experts dissecting Miranda's expressions. Each new video drove traffic back to Evan's original, feeding the frenzy. Evan's following jumped to 450,000 in 24 hours. Brand deals appeared in his inbox. Podcast invitations flooded his DMs. The betrayal had transformed into valuable currency in the attention economy. While Miranda frantically called and texted him, messages he screenshotted for potential Part 2 content. Evan went live to answer viewer questions, carefully dancing around legal concerns while maximizing the scandal's momentum. "This isn't about hurting anyone," he claimed to his audience. "It's about truth, about consequences." What he didn't mention was his monetization dashboard showing estimated earnings from the viral hit, enough to cover 3 months' rent in a single day. If you're watching this video right now, I want you to comment below. How has social media changed modern relationships? Has technology made infidelity easier or just easier to expose? Your comments help our community understand these complex issues, and I read every single one. The notification came from Daniel, a coworker. "Isn't this your wife?" with a link attached. Victor nearly dismissed it as spam until he recognized Miranda's profile picture in the thumbnail. He clicked play during his lunch break, sandwich forgotten as the video unfolded on his screen. "This can't be real," he whispered, watching his wife laugh intimately with a stranger. The timestamp showed it was filmed last Wednesday, when Miranda had claimed to be at a design conference. His first instinct was denial. Deepfakes existed. Videos could be manipulated. Someone might be targeting them. But as he watched it a second time, details confirmed its authenticity. Miranda's distinctive ring, the scar on her wrist from a childhood accident, the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when nervous. Habits only someone who truly knew her would recognize. Victor took a methodical approach to verification. He created an anonymous account to access the full video without alerting Miranda. He took screenshots, downloaded the content, and began cross-referencing dates and locations with his wife's explanations over the past months. The hotel lobby was from when she'd claimed to visit her sister. The park bench conversation occurred during her supposed yoga class. Each piece of evidence he collected felt like a physical blow. 23 instances of confirmed lies, he noted in the document he'd created. 8 locations she claimed never to have visited. As the view count climbed to 2.3 million, Victor discovered reaction videos featuring strangers analyzing his marriage. Comment sections filled with jokes about him. Memes using Miranda's expressions spread across platforms. His humiliation was becoming cultural entertainment. He stopped answering calls, canceled meetings. Colleagues sent pitying glances. The cashier at his local grocery store looked away awkwardly. She'd seen it too. Sleep became impossible. In darkened rooms, illuminated only by his screen, Victor watched the video again and again. He began keeping detailed timelines, cross-referencing social media posts, analyzing background details for new clues. His investigation expanded to include Evan's entire social media presence. "Need to understand everything," he wrote in increasingly erratic notes. The digital record of betrayal became his only focus. A constantly refreshing document of his humiliation that he couldn't stop watching, couldn't stop analyzing, couldn't escape. Victor Carson had built his identity around being a protector and provider. The foundation of his self-worth rested on his marriage, a commitment he'd honored faithfully for 7 years. Now, as millions of strangers witnessed his failure to keep that sacred trust, something fundamental shifted within him. That's him. The guy whose wife cheated on TikTok, he overheard in a coffee shop. The whispers followed him everywhere. His phone buzzed constantly with messages from concerned friends, each notification a reminder of his public disgrace. The psychological transformation occurred gradually, then suddenly. The man who once surprised Miranda with breakfast in bed now scrutinized their wedding photos for signs of deception. Had she been laughing genuinely in that anniversary picture? Was she already texting Evan during their vacation last summer? "I don't recognize myself anymore," he wrote in his journal, the handwriting increasingly jagged across the page. Sleep deprivation accelerated his decline. Night after night, Victor sat illuminated by screen light, constructing elaborate timelines of betrayal. 3 a.m. found him comparing metadata on photos, searching for location inconsistencies in Miranda's posts. 4 a.m. saw him creating folders of evidence, methodically organized, obsessively reviewed. Need to know exactly when it started became his mantra. Need to understand precisely how she lied. The public dimension of his humiliation proved devastating. Comment sections dissected his shortcomings as a husband based on Miranda's previous content. Strangers debated what he must have done wrong to drive her to infidelity. His most intimate failure was now fodder for public speculation. Every memory became suspect. Their first date. Had she settled for him? Their wedding day. Was her smile forced? The house they'd purchased together. Had it always been a prison to her? The past reconstituted itself as a long con, with Victor cast as the oblivious fool. 7 years of my life, he muttered to his reflection, a stranger staring back with hollowed eyes. 7 years I'll never recover. The caring man who'd existed before the video disappeared entirely. In his place emerged someone consumed by righteous anger and vindication. Someone who believed the world owed him justice for his public humiliation. Someone who could no longer distinguish between seeking truth and seeking vengeance. Victor chose Thursday evening for the confrontation. Miranda would be home from work by 6, giving him time to prepare. He arranged the living room meticulously. Laptop open on the coffee table, screenshots printed and organized chronologically, text messages highlighted. Evidence displayed like a prosecutor's exhibit. When Miranda's key turned in the lock at 6:12 p.m., Victor sat perfectly still in the armchair facing the door. "We need to talk," he said, voice unnervingly calm. Miranda froze upon seeing the evidence laid out before her. Her eyes darted from the printed photos to Victor's expressionless face. "Victor, I can explain. 3 million people have watched you betray me," he interrupted. "I think explanations are a bit late." The initial conversation maintained a veneer of control. Victor asked questions with precise, measured words. When did it start? How many times had they met? Was it just Evan? Or were there others? Miranda's answers came hesitantly, each admission stripping away another layer of their shared history. "I never meant for any of this to happen," she said, tears streaming down her face. "The attention online. It filled something empty inside me." "Empty?" Victor's composure cracked. "We built this life together. Was it all meaningless to you?" Their voices rose gradually. Miranda's justifications collided with Victor's catalogued betrayals. 7 years of marriage reduced to accusations and defenses. The neighbors would later report hearing the argument escalate over 20 minutes. Controlled discussion giving way to shouted recriminations. "You humiliated me in front of millions." Victor slammed his fist on the table, sending evidence photos fluttering to the floor. "People I've never met are laughing at me because of you." "This isn't about you," Miranda shouted back. "It was never about you." The doorbell cut through their argument at 7:03 p.m. Neither had expected visitors. Victor opened the door to find Evan Rivers standing on his porch, phone in hand. "I thought I should be part of this conversation," Evan said, camera subtly angled to capture the moment. "For transparency." The sight of the man from the videos, the physical embodiment of his humiliation, standing confidently on his doorstep shattered Victor's last restraint. Seeing the camera pointed toward him, understanding that his breakdown might become another viral moment, triggered something primal within him. "You're recording this?" Victor whispered, his voice dangerously quiet. "My pain is just more content for you?" What happened next occurred in a blur of motion and raw emotion. The carefully planned confrontation dissolved into chaos. Reason gave way to rage. Words gave way to actions. The boundaries between digital betrayal and physical violence collapsed entirely. Before we continue to the horrifying conclusion of this true crime story, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. Our channel covers crucial stories that reveal the dark consequences when technology, relationships, and human emotion collide. Lessons that might one day save your life or someone you love. Witnesses reported a sudden silence following Victor's question about the recording, a moment of terrible stillness before the storm. Mrs. Abernathy, the elderly neighbor across the street, described seeing shadows moving violently behind the curtains. The Johnsons, 3 houses down, heard the crash of furniture and Miranda's scream at 7:08 p.m. Victor later described it as watching himself from a distance. His hands moved with unfamiliar purpose. The decorator lamp became a weapon. The coffee table overturned. Evan, still clutching his phone, backed toward the door but didn't escape the rage directed primarily at him, the visible symbol of Victor's public humiliation. Miranda's attempts to intervene proved catastrophic. In the chaotic struggle, boundaries between target and protector blurred. The violence escalated beyond reason or restraint. Blood spattered across the evidence photographs still scattered on the floor. Digital betrayal and physical consequences merging in one horrific tableau. "I heard a thud, then nothing," said Robert Klein, next-door neighbor. That silence afterward was worse than the shouting. At 7:23 p.m., it was over. 2 bodies lay motionless in the living room of the Carson home. Victor sat on the stairs, staring at his bloodied hands as if they belonged to someone else. The phone that had captured so much of their destruction continued recording, now documenting the aftermath from where it had fallen. Officers Adams and Thompson responded to multiple 911 calls. Arriving at 7:31 p.m., they found Victor still seated on the stairs, oddly calm, mumbling about millions of views and comments. The neighborhood gathered behind police tape, stunned that such violence could erupt on their quiet street. Parents shielded children's eyes. Teenagers filmed the scene for their own social platforms. The cycle of digital voyeurism continuing even in tragedy's wake. What began as pixels on a screen had transformed into irreversible physical reality. The currency of likes and shares had been exchanged for something far more permanent. Proof that virtual actions can trigger devastating real-world consequences. The Carson home transformed into a crime scene for 8 days. Forensic teams meticulously documented blood spatter patterns, collected digital devices, and reconstructed the sequence of violence. Detective Laura Mendez led the investigation, immediately recognizing the unique digital dimension of the case. "We're dealing with a murder that began online," she told her team. "The evidence exists in 2 realms. Digital forensics specialists recovered Evan's phone, which had recorded 47 seconds of the attack before falling. They extracted data from 5 devices found in the home, assembling an exhaustive record of the affair's progression and Victor's subsequent research. His document titled Betrayal_Evidence_Final.docs contained 142 pages of screenshots, timestamps, and personal observations. Media coverage exploded beyond true crime circles. Morning shows debated the TikTok murder. Primetime specials analyzed social media's role in modern infidelity. Cable news anchors interviewed psychiatrists about digital humiliation's psychological impact. Evan's original exposure video, though removed from official platforms, continued circulating on alternative sites, gaining millions of additional views. "The case represents a troubling evolution," commented Dr. Rebecca Chin, digital ethics researcher. "Virtual actions creating physical casualties." The courtroom proceedings began 9 months later. Prosecutors presented 1,700 pages of evidence, much of it digital. The jury viewed videos documenting the affair's progression alongside Victor's increasingly disturbed private journals. The prosecution emphasized premeditation. The defense argued temporary insanity triggered by extraordinary public humiliation. Expert witness Dr. Martin Kelly testified, "The human psyche isn't designed to process humiliation at this scale. When millions witness your most intimate betrayal, the shame can trigger primitive defense mechanisms. Public reactions split along generational lines. Older commentators emphasized personal responsibility. Younger voices questioned the ethics of viral exposure videos. Hashtags supporting both Victor and Miranda trended simultaneously. The tragedy sparked a national conversation about the psychological consequences of digital shame. Miranda's parents established a foundation addressing social media's impact on mental health. Evan's former followers created support groups for cyberbullying victims. Victor's case became required reading in digital ethics courses at major universities. A cautionary tale about the volatile intersection of technology and human emotion. Westwood residents struggled to reconcile their peaceful community with the violence that had erupted within it. The Carson home stood empty for months, a silent reminder of how digital conflicts can manifest in physical spaces. "We didn't see it coming," admitted HOA President Diane Miller. "Makes you wonder what's happening behind closed doors on every street." The local library organized weekly discussions titled Connected and Disconnected, where residents processed their feelings about technology's role in relationships. Attendance grew from 12 participants to over 70 within weeks. "People are questioning their own online behaviors," noted librarian James Foster. "Many have deleted apps or established household rules about device usage." The Westwood School District implemented new digital citizenship curriculum after parents expressed concerns about their teenagers' social media habits. Principal Garcia observed, "Students are suddenly aware that virtual actions have real consequences." Dr. Heather Williams, clinical psychologist, offered free counseling sessions for community members affected by the tragedy. "We're seeing anxiety about public exposure, fear of private moments becoming public. These concerns weren't common 5 years ago." Local churches and community centers established tech-free zones where residents could connect face-to-face. The present and accounted for initiative encouraged families to place phones in lockboxes during shared meals and activities. Former neighbors created the Miranda and Victor Foundation, which funds research on digital shame and its psychological effects. Their program Before You Post tours high schools nationwide, educating students about consent and privacy in digital spaces. "Something fundamental has shifted," community organizer Dana Johnson reflected. "We're more conscious of how technology shapes our most intimate relationships, and what can happen when those private spaces become public entertainment." The Carson Rivers tragedy offers critical lessons about life in the digital age, lessons that might prevent similar violence if heeded. First, privacy has become an endangered resource. What once remained between partners now potentially belongs to the world. The illusion of digital secrecy, password-protected accounts, private messages, selective sharing, crumbles when motivation for exposure outweighs discretion. Neither Miranda's affair nor Victor's subsequent research remained truly private. Both became public property, consumed as entertainment by millions. The boundaries between personal and public have dissolved, noted digital ethicist Dr. Amara Jackson. "We haven't adapted psychologically to this new reality." Second, public humiliation operates at unprecedented scale and speed. Throughout human history, shame remained largely local, contained within communities where healing and redemption remained possible. Today's digital shame can reach millions instantly, permanently archived and continuously accessible. Victor experienced humiliation of a magnitude previous generations never faced. Ridicule from strangers across continents, judgment from people he would never meet. Technology doesn't create human emotions but dramatically amplifies them. Miranda's desire for validation, Evan's ambition, Victor's jealousy. These existed before social media. The digital landscape magnified these feelings beyond sustainable proportions. Validation came from thousands rather than friends. Ambition measured in viral metrics rather than personal growth. Jealousy fueled by public commentary rather than private suspicion. Warning signs appeared throughout but went unrecognized. Miranda's increasing dependence on external validation through likes and comments. Victor's withdrawal from social connection as online presence increased the community's normalization of exposing private lives for entertainment. The growing disconnect between online personas and offline realities, the dangerous combination of isolation and public humiliation. Perhaps most importantly, the case highlights how we've surrendered human complexity to algorithmic simplicity. Real relationships involve nuance, growth, and forgiveness. Digital platforms reward controversy, judgment, and permanent labeling. We're allowing technology designed for engagement to govern spaces meant for connection, observed relationship therapist Miguel Santos. The metrics driving these platforms are fundamentally incompatible with healthy human bonds. The tragedy reminds us that behind every viral moment are real people with real vulnerabilities. A fact easily forgotten in our rush to like, share, and comment on others' lives. Victor Carson received a 25-year sentence, the judge acknowledging both the brutality of his actions and the extraordinary circumstances that preceded them. The case established new legal precedent regarding digital provocation, cited in dozens of subsequent trials involving social media-related violence. Evan Rivers' family successfully campaigned for legislation requiring consent before publishing relationship content featuring identifiable individuals. Evan's law passed in 12 states, creating the first meaningful boundaries around exposure videos and relationship content. The original viral video that sparked the tragedy continues to resurface despite platform bans. Each reappearance triggers debate about algorithmic ethics and content moderation. Tech companies now employ AI systems specifically designed to detect and remove videos matching its pattern, acknowledging that some content causes harm beyond measurement. Miranda's digital legacy remains complicated. Her TikTok videos, preserved by internet archivists, serve as teaching materials in psychology courses examining validation-seeking behavior. Her parents speak annually at digital citizenship conferences, their message simple but powerful. Our daughter existed beyond her mistakes. The Westwood tragedy reminds us that we inhabit two interconnected worlds, one digital, one physical, where actions in either realm generate consequences in both. The line separating online entertainment from real-world harm grows thinner daily. When we consume others' private pain as public spectacle, we participate in a system that occasionally produces devastation. Behind every viral moment stands a human being whose complexity can't be captured in likes or shares. A person whose dignity deserves protection even in a culture that rewards its violation. If the story affected you, please like this video, share it with someone who needs this warning, and subscribe to True Crime Village. Your engagement helps us continue bringing these critical stories and life-saving lessons to light. What digital boundaries have you established in your own relationships? Let us know in the comments below.